Admiral Hyunwoo Kim stood at the large window of Luna Station, watching the dark space beyond Earth's moon. His coffee had gone cold an hour ago, but he did not notice. The communication from the outer sensors still played in his mind. Something big was coming toward Earth. "Sir," called Lieutenant Yoonji Nam from her station. "The object just dropped out of faster-than-light travel. It's holding position at the edge of our solar system." Hyunwoo turned away from the window. The command center of Luna Station buzzed with quiet activity. Officers moved between computer screens, checking data and sending reports. Everyone knew this day might come. They had prepared for it, but now that it was here, the weight of first contact with alien life felt heavy on everyone's shoulders. "Show me," Hyunwoo said. The main screen lit up with an image that made several officers gasp. The alien ship was beautiful in a cold way. It looked like a giant silver leaf, smooth and curved, with no hard edges. Blue lights ran along its sides like veins. The ship was about 300 meters long and seemed to float in space like it belonged there. "Analysis?" Hyunwoo asked. "No weapons visible on the surface," reported Chief Tech Officer Bjorn Lee, "but the whole material is unknown. Energy readings suggest advanced power systems, much more advanced than ours." Hyunwoo nodded. "Any communication attempts?" "Yes, sir. They sent a message 20 minutes ago. It's been translated by our computers." Lieutenant Nam pressed a button, and a voice filled the command center. The voice was smooth and seemed to come from everywhere at once. It spoke perfect English, though with a strange musical quality. "Greetings, inhabitants of the third planet. I am Ambassador Veltar of the Altarian Empire, speaking for the Galactic Confederation. We have come to welcome your species into the greater community of intelligent life. Please prepare a representative for diplomatic contact." The message ended, leaving the command center in silence. "They want to talk," said Bo-Ram. Double quotes yes, Hyunwoo replied. "But the question is what they really want to say." He walked to his command chair and pressed a button. "Get me Captain Ji-won Park. Tell her to prepare the Harmony for immediate departure." Captain Ji-won Park had been expecting this call. As commander of Earth's newest diplomatic ship, she had trained for first contact situations for 3 years. The ship Harmony was small compared to Earth's military vessels, only 80 meters long. It looked peaceful, with rounded edges and white hull plating, perfect for a first meeting with aliens. "Status report," Ji-won said as she entered the bridge of her ship. "All systems ready, Captain," replied her first officer, Lieutenant Sung Ho-yoon. "Diplomatic equipment is active. Translation, computers are running. The medical bay is prepared. For alien contact protocols." Ji-won sat in her captain's chair. Through the front window she could see Earth in the distance, blue and green and beautiful. Soon she would be the first human to speak with beings from another world. "Take us out," she ordered. The Harmony left Luna Station and began its journey toward the edge of the solar system. The trip would take 6 hours at maximum speed. Gi-won used the time to review everything they knew about diplomatic contact with unknown species. The truth was, they knew very little. All they had were theories and hopes. Aboard the alien ship, Serenity's Edge, Ambassador Veltar studied the approaching human vessel with satisfaction. The ship was small and simple. Its design showed basic understanding of space travel, but nothing impressive. This would be another easy addition to the Confederation. "The human ship will arrive in 1 hour," reported his aide. "Kethra, shall I prepare the intimidation display?" "Not yet," Veltar said. "Let them board. I want to see these humans up close first. Sometimes the primitive species surprise us with their creativity." Veltar had overseen 47 first contact situations. The pattern was always the same. The young species would be amazed by superior alien technology. Then came the gentle threats. Finally, the new species would accept Confederation rule. In exchange for technology and protection, it was a clean system that had worked for 300 years. "Their ship design is interesting," noted Science Officer Yulden. "Simple, but efficient. Their energy systems are more advanced than expected. For their technological level, all primitive species have their small talents," Veltar replied. "It changes nothing." The docking was smooth. Captain Park had to admit the aliens knew their business. The Harmony attached to the alien ship without any problems. The airlocks connected perfectly, and the atmosphere readings showed the air was safe for humans to breathe. Ji-won wore her dress uniform, with the Earth Defense Force insignia bright on her chest. Behind her stood Lieutenant Yoon and Dr. Min-young Ko, Earth's top expert on alien biology. They had no idea what to expect. The airlock opened with a soft sound. The corridor beyond was beautiful. The walls seemed to be made of the same silver material as the ship's hull, but they glowed with soft light. The floor felt solid but somehow warm under their feet. Everything was clean and perfect. "Welcome aboard the Serenity's Edge," came a voice from ahead. A figure approached them, and Ji-won got her first look at an alien being. Ambassador Veltar was tall, about 2.5 meters, with pale blue skin that seemed to shimmer. His face was almost human, but his eyes were larger and completely black. He wore robes that seemed to be made of liquid light, flowing and changing color as he moved. When he walked, He seemed to float slightly above the floor. "I am Ambassador Valtar," he said, his voice the same musical tone they had heard over the radio. "You are the first of your species I have met. How ... interesting." G1 stepped forward. "I am Captain G1 Park of the Earth Defense Force. Thank you for allowing us aboard your ship, Ambassador." "Of course. Please, follow me. We have much to discuss." They walked through corridors that seemed to go on forever. The ship was much larger inside than it appeared from outside. They passed rooms filled with technology that G1 could not begin to understand. Screens showed star maps of the entire galaxy. Other aliens moved through the corridors, all tall and graceful like Valtar. Finally, they reached a large room. With a table in the center, the walls were transparent, showing the stars outside. Earth was visible in the distance, small and fragile looking. "Please, sit," Valtar said. "Let us begin." As they took their seats, G1 noticed something in Valtar's manner. He was polite, but there was something else. A kind of amusement, like he was enjoying a private joke. It made her nervous. "Your species has reached an important moment," Valtar began. "You have developed space travel. You have unified your planet under a single government. These are the signs that a species is ready to join the greater galactic community." "We're honored by your visit," G1 replied carefully. "The Galactic Confederation includes over 10,000 species across the galaxy. We have brought peace, order, and prosperity to countless worlds. We offer the same to Earth." Valtar waved his hand, and the table between them lit up with images. G1 saw alien cities that stretched across entire continents, ships that could destroy planets, technology that seemed like magic. "This could be your future," Valtar said. "But there are requirements." "What kind of requirements?" Dr. Ko asked. Valtar's smile became less friendly. "Earths must accept Confederation authority. Your military forces will be reduced to a planetary defense level. Your government will report to the Confederation Council. In return, you will receive our protection and selected technologies." The room became very quiet. Guan felt her heart beating faster. This was not a friendly invitation. This was a demand for surrender. "I see," she said carefully. "This is a significant decision. We would need time to consider. ... Of course, Valtar interrupted. "We are not unreasonable. You have 48 of your hours to provide an answer. I suggest you choose wisely." The threat in his voice was clear. G1 realized that this beautiful alien ship had not come to offer friendship. It had come to deliver an ultimatum. As they prepared to leave, Valtar spoke once more. "Captain Park, I hope your leaders understand the situation clearly. The Confederation has ways of encouraging cooperation from reluctant species. We prefer not to use them." Walking back to the Harmony, G1 felt the weight of her species' future on her shoulders. Earth had 48 hours to choose between surrender and something much worse. The question was, did humanity have any other choice? The emergency meeting room in the White House had never felt so small. President So-Young Lee sat at the head of the long table, her face serious as she listened to Captain G1 Park's report. Around the table sat the most important people in Earth's government and military, "So they want us to surrender," President Lee said after G1 finished speaking. "Just like that." "Yes, Madam President," G1 replied. "They call it joining the Confederation, but it's really giving up our freedom. They want control of our military, our government, everything." Fleet Admiral Taemin Choi leaned forward. In his chair, he was a big man with gray hair and scars on his hands from his years as a fighter pilot. "What happens if we say no?" Ambassador Valtar didn't say directly, but the threat was clear. "They have ways of making species cooperate." Dr. Maranyu, the head of Earth's Xenobiology Department, spoke up. "I've been studying the recordings of your meeting, Captain. The alien's body language suggests extreme confidence. They believe they hold all the power." "Maybe they do," said Defense Secretary Chang Su-nam. "We saw their ship. Our technology is centuries behind theirs." Admiral Hyun-woo Kim, who had joined the meeting by video link from Luna Station, shook his head. "Are we sure about that? They show us one ship and assume we'll be impressed. But we don't know how many ships they have or what their real capabilities are." President Lee stood up and walked to the window. Outside she could see normal people, going about their normal lives. They had no idea that in 46 hours, everything might change forever. "What are our options?" she asked. Admiral Choi opened a thick folder. "We have 3 choices. First, we accept their demands and hope they treat us well. Second, we refuse and fight with what we have. Third," he paused. "Third," President Lee asked, "we show them what we really have." The room went quiet. Everyone knew what Admiral Choi meant, but nobody wanted to say it out loud. Far from Earth, the Altarian battle group waited in the cold darkness between stars. Commander Duhain Kong stood on the bridge of the heavy cruiser Domination, watching the sensor displays. 3 ships hung in space around him, each one nearly a kilometer long and armed with enough weapons to destroy a small moon. "Status report," he ordered. "All ships ready for combat operations," replied his weapons officer. "Energy levels at maximum. Shields powered. The human homeworld is 12 hours away at attack speed." Duhain had fought in 17 planetary conquests. Most ended before they began. Young species saw the Altarian battle fleet and surrendered immediately. Only twice had species been foolish enough to actually fight. Both times, their planets were turned to glass within hours. Sir called his communications officer. Message from Ambassador Veltar aboard the Serenity's Edge. He reports the humans are considering their options. Considering, Duhayan laughed. What is there to consider? They submit, or they die. But privately, Duhayan felt a small worry. His intelligence reports on humanity were limited. The species had appeared in space only 50 years ago. Their expansion had been fast, but not impressive. They had colonies on a few nearby worlds and mining operations throughout their solar system. Nothing that suggested real military power. Still, something bothered him. Human ship designs were strange. They looked simple from the outside, but their energy signatures were unusual, and there were so many of them. Most species had a few dozen ships when the Confederation found them. The humans seemed to have hundreds. Begin moving toward their system, Duhayan ordered, but keep us cloaked. I want to see what they're really hiding. On Mars, Lieutenant Yunji Nam watched her sensors. Carefully, she commanded the orbital defense station that protected the planet's mining colonies. It was supposed to be a quiet job. Mars was far from any dangerous areas of space, and most of the time nothing happened. But today was different. Her long sensors had detected something moving toward the inner solar system. Something big. Computer, analyze contact bearing 270, she said. The station's artificial intelligence processed the data. Contact appears to be multiple large vessels moving at significant speed. Configuration unknown. They are using some form of stealth technology. Yunji felt her heart speed up. After Captain Park's report, everyone in the Earth Defense Force was on high alert. These had to be more alien ships. Send a coded message to Luna Station, she ordered. Tell them we have multiple bogies incoming. They're trying to hide, but our sensors can still see them. The message went out on a secure channel within minutes. Every human military installation in the solar system received the same information. The aliens were coming, and they thought they were invisible. Back on Earth, the emergency meeting was still going on. More people had joined by video link. The Prime Minister of the European Federation, the President of the African Union, the Chairman of the Asian Cooperative. Everyone wanted to know what would happen next. The alien ships are moving into our system, Admiral Kim reported from Luna Station. 3 heavy warships, probably their main battle fleet. They're using stealth technology, but we can track them. How long until they reach Earth? President Lee asked. At their current speed, about 10 hours. Dr. Yu studied the sensor data on her tablet. They're positioning themselves to threaten our homeworld directly. Classic intimidation tactics. Will it work? Asked the European Prime Minister. Admiral Choi smiled grimly. That depends on how good their intelligence is. President Lee returned to her seat. Gentlemen, ladies, I think it's time we discussed option 3. She pressed a button on the table, and new people appeared on the video screens. Admiral Jace O from the Asteroid Belt Command, General Yujin Kong from the Outer System Defense Force, Captain Subano from the Deep Space Reconnaissance Division. Status report on Prometheus Protocol, Admiral Choi said. Admiral O spoke first. All asteroid fortifications are ready. Weapon systems have been tested and are functioning within normal parameters. We can be combat ready in 6 hours. General Kong nodded. Outer system defense platforms are online. Cloaking systems are active. The enemy has no idea we're here. Captain O's report was the most interesting. Deep reconnaissance assets are tracking the alien fleet. We have full sensor coverage of their ships. They're powerful, but they're not invincible. President Lee looked around the room. How many people know about Prometheus? Less than 10,000. Admiral Choi replied. Everyone with the highest security clearance, the alien intelligence network, if they have one, would never find it. And you're sure this will work? Admiral Kim's voice was steady and confident. Madam President, for the last 50 years, humanity has been preparing for this day. We've hidden our real capabilities behind a false front of simple mining ships and peaceful exploration vessels. Every major installation in the solar system has been designed to look like something else. The question is, Admiral Choi added, are we ready to show the galaxy what humans are really capable of? President Lee thought about the alien ambassador's arrogant demands. She thought about the battle fleet moving toward Earth like they owned it already. She thought about the millions of humans who had worked in secret for decades to protect their home. Send a message to all Prometheus assets, she said. Begin Phase 1 activation, and get me a direct line to this Ambassador Veltar. I think it's time we gave him our answer. Aboard the Serenity's Edge, Veltar received the message from Earth 15 hours before the deadline. He was surprised. Most species waited until the last possible moment before surrendering. They wished to transmit their response directly to you, Ambassador, his aide reported. Excellent. Put it on the main screen. The image of President So-Young Lee appeared before him. She looked calm and professional, not like someone about to surrender her entire species. Ambassador Veltar, she began. We have considered your offer carefully. Earth appreciates the Confederation's interest in our world. Veltar smiled. Here it came, the surrender. However, President Lee continued, we must respectfully decline your terms. Earth will remain free and independent. We hope this will not damage future relations between our peoples. The transmission ended. Veltar stared at the empty screen in shock. In 300 years of Confederation expansion, no species had ever said no. Not once, sir, his aide asked nervously. What are your orders? Veltar's expression hardened. Contact Commander Du Hyan. Tell him to proceed with pacification operations immediately. It seems these humans need to learn about consequences. But as he gave the order, Veltar felt something he had not experienced in decades. Uncertainty. What kind of species said no to the Galactic Confederation? Commander Du Hyan Kong could not believe what he was hearing. No species had ever refused the Confederation's offer. Not in 300 years of galactic expansion. Confirm that message, he ordered his communications officer. Confirmed, sir. The humans have rejected our terms. Ambassador Veltar orders immediate pacification operations. Du Hyan looked at the tactical display showing Earth's solar system. The planet looked so small and helpless. Their intelligence reports showed a few hundred simple ships, mostly used for mining and transport. This would be over quickly. All ships, prepare for attack formation, he commanded. We will enter their inner system and take position over there. Homeworld. Once they see our weapons pointed at their cities, they will change their minds. The 3 Altarian warships dropped their stealth fields and began moving toward Earth at full speed. Each ship was nearly a kilometer long, with enough firepower to destroy continents. The sight of them should terrify any reasonable species into surrender. On Luna Station, Admiral Hyun-woo Kim watched the alien ships approach. His command staff stood ready at their stations, waiting for orders. Everyone knew this moment would decide humanity's future. Distance to alien fleet, he asked. 4 hours to Earth orbital space, reported Lieutenant Nam. They're not hiding anymore. All 3 ships are running with full power. Phase 1 of Prometheus is complete, announced Chief Tech Officer Bioram Lee. All assets are in position and ready. Admiral Kim nodded. For 50 years, humanity had planned for this day. While the aliens saw simple mining operations and peaceful exploration, humans had been building something very different. Every major installation in the solar system had a secret purpose. Send the activation code to all stations, he ordered. It's time to show them what we really are. Captain Subeno floated in the command center of her stealth reconnaissance ship, Whisper. Her vessel had been following the alien fleet for hours, gathering intelligence on their capabilities. What she had learned was both encouraging and worrying. The aliens are powerful, she reported to Luna Station, but their technology is old. They've been using the same designs for centuries. They're not used to fighting anyone who can fight back. Her ship's advanced sensors could see through the alien stealth systems. More importantly, the aliens had no idea the Whisper existed. Human stealth technology was generations ahead of anything in the Confederation. They're entering the inner system now, Subin reported, beginning final approach to Earth. Commander Du Hyan felt satisfaction as his fleet approached the blue-green world ahead. Soon, the humans would see his ships hanging over their planet. Like swords, they would realize their mistake and beg for mercy. Take us into high orbit, he ordered. I want every human on that planet to see us. The 3 alien warships moved into position above Earth. Their hulls gleamed in the sunlight, and their weapons glowed with barely contained energy. Du Hyan had used this same technique on dozens of worlds. It never failed. Open a channel to the planet, he said. Let me speak to their leaders. The image of President So-young Lee appeared on his screen. She looked calm, which surprised him. Most leaders were panicking by now. I am Commander Du Hyan Kong of the Altarian Battle Fleet, he announced. You have made a serious mistake. Look up at your sky and see the power of the Confederation. You have one final chance to surrender. President Lee smiled. Commander, thank you for coming to our solar system. We've been waiting for you. Waiting. Du Hyan was confused. You should be afraid. My ships can destroy your entire civilization. I'm sure you think so, President Lee replied, but there's something you should know. You're not the only ones with ships. Admiral Kim pressed a single button on his command console. Throughout the solar system, a signal went out on channels the aliens could not detect. The message was simple. Prometheus, active. Show them everything. Commander Du Hyan was still talking to President Lee when his sensor officer shouted an alarm. Sir, energy readings are spiking throughout the system. Something's happening. Du Hyan spun around to look at his tactical display. What he saw made his blood run cold. All around the solar system, objects that his sensors had marked as simple mining platforms and industrial stations were changing. The asteroid series had looked like a normal mining operation. Now, massive weapon systems were emerging from hidden bays. Railguns longer than his entire ship pointed directly at his fleet. What is this? He whispered. Captain Young Ho Bei commanded Ceres Station. For 30 years, he had pretended to run a simple mining operation. In reality, he controlled one of the most powerful weapons platforms ever built. All guns ready, he reported to Luna Station. We have target lock on all 3 alien vessels. Similar reports came from across the solar system. The moon base Europa revealed hidden missile batteries. The research station on Titan showed massive energy weapons. Even the small outposts on distant asteroids were armed with technology the aliens had never seen. Impossible, Duhayan breathed. Our intelligence showed no military installations. Your intelligence was wrong, came President Lee's voice. We've been preparing for this day for 50 years. Every mining ship, every research station, every industrial platform, all of it was designed to look harmless while hiding our real capabilities. But the biggest surprise was yet to come. Throughout the solar system, what the aliens had thought were simple cargo ships began to change. Their outer hulls split open and fell away, revealing sleek warships underneath. Commander Hajin Lim had spent 10 years pretending to transport or between the outer planets. In reality, his ship Defiance was a heavy cruiser with more firepower than most alien battleships. All ships, shed your disguises, Admiral Kim ordered. Across the solar system, hundreds of fake civilian ships revealed their true nature. Mining vessels became destroyers. Transport ships became cruisers. Research vessels became carriers, launching fighter squadrons. Du Hyun watched his tactical display in horror as the human fleet materialized around him. There were not dozens of ships as his intelligence had suggested. There were hundreds, and they were not primitive vessels using simple technology. Sir, his weapons officer reported, his voice shaking. The human ships are using quantum armor, antimatter weapons, point defense systems that move faster than our sensors can track. This technology is more advanced than ours. How is this possible? Duhayan demanded, as if in answer to his question. The space above his flagship shimmered, and something massive began to appear. The Indomitable was humanity's greatest achievement. At 2 kilometers long, it was the largest warship ever built by human hands. For 20 years, it had hidden in the outer system, cloaked by technology that made it invisible to all sensors. Commander Hajin Lim watched from the bridge of his cruiser as the great ship materialized directly above the alien flagship. The Indomitable dwarfed even the largest Altarian vessel, its hull bristling with weapons that represented the best of human engineering. This is Admiral Hyun-woo Kim, aboard the Indomitable, came the broadcast to the alien fleet. Welcome to Sol System, Commander. You wanted to see our military capabilities. We thought it only polite to oblige. Duhayan stared up at the massive human dreadnought hanging above his ship like a metal moon. Every weapon system on the Indomitable was pointed directly at his fleet. He was beginning to understand just how badly he had miscalculated. Impossible, he whispered. No species develops this kind of technology in secret. Our spies, our intelligence, NETWORKS, found exactly what we wanted them to find. Admiral Kim replied, every piece of information you gathered about humanity was carefully planned. We've been watching the Confederation for decades, learning how you operate. We knew you would come eventually. More human ships continued to appear. Each one represented technology the Confederation had never seen. Stealth systems that could hide entire fleets. Weapons that could punch through any known armor. Shields that could absorb the energy of a small star. You see, Commander, Admiral Kim continued, humanity learned something important from studying your empire. You've been so successful for so long that you've stopped growing. Your technology hasn't improved in centuries because you never face real opposition. But we've been fighting for survival since we first looked up at the stars. Every ship we build is better than the last. Every weapon system is designed to face enemies we haven't met yet. We don't conquer other species, we prepare to defend. Against them, Captain Seo Jin-han commanded the battlecruiser Defiance. His ship was one of 50 that had surrounded the alien fleet in perfect formation. Each human vessel was positioned to maximize firepower while minimizing the risk of friendly fire. All ships report ready, he announced to Admiral Kim. The aliens are completely surrounded. Duhayan looked at his tactical display and realized the hopelessness of his situation. His 3 ships were outnumbered 50 to 1. Worse, every human vessel was more advanced than anything in the Confederation fleet. Sir, his communications officer said quietly, we're receiving surrender terms from the human admiral. Surrender terms? Duhayan could barely speak. They want us to surrender. The terms are quite reasonable. Admiral Kim's voice filled the alien bridge. Power down your weapons and prepare to be boarded. Your crews will be treated well and return to Confederation space with a message for your leaders. Duhayan felt his world spinning. He had come here expecting to crush a primitive species. Instead, he had found a military force that made the Confederation look like children playing with toys. Commander, his weapons officer said, what are your orders? Duhayan looked at the massive human dreadnought above him. He thought about his crew, his ships, his duty to the Confederation. Then he thought about the impossible odds he faced. Power down all weapons, he ordered quietly. Prepare for boarding operations. The boarding of the Altarian ships was swift and professional. Human marines in advanced armor moved through the alien vessels with practiced efficiency. They secured all weapons and systems while treating the alien crews with respect. Captain Sio Chinhan led the boarding party onto Commander Du Haiyan's flagship. He found the alien commander sitting alone in his command chair, staring at the tactical display that showed the hopeless situation of his fleet. Commander Kong Sio Chin said politely, "I'm Captain Han of the Earth Defense Force. You and your crew are now prisoners of war. You will be treated according to the interstellar laws of warfare." Du Haiyan looked up at the human officer. "How?" he asked simply. "How did you hide all of this from us?" "We learned from watching your empire," Sio Jin replied. "You always look for military threats, but you ignore civilian infrastructure. We built our entire defense network to look like something else. But the technology, your ships are more advanced than anything we have. That's what happens when you spend 300 years conquering instead of innovating. The Confederation has been using the same ship designs for centuries. We've been improving ours every year." Back on Earth, Dr. Yuzhen Shin prepared for the most important diplomatic meeting in human history. As Earth's lead negotiator, she would be the one to establish humanity's relationship with the Galactic Confederation. Ambassador Feltar sat across from her in the secure conference room. The proud alien diplomat looked very different now. His earlier arrogance had been replaced by shock and confusion. "I don't understand," Feltar said for the 10th time. "No species has ever refused the Confederation. No species has ever had the power to refuse. Perhaps that's been the problem," Dr. Shin replied calmly. "Your empire has grown used to dealing with species that can't defend themselves. You've forgotten how to negotiate with equals." "Equals?" Veltar's voice cracked. "You destroyed our battle fleet without firing a shot. You have technology we don't understand. You're not our equals, you're our superiors." Dr. Shin shook her head. "We don't want to be anyone's superiors. We want to be partners. But the Confederation will need to change if that's going to happen." She slid a document across the table. "These are Earth's terms for joining the galactic community." Veltar read the document with growing amazement. "You want to join as an independent member? With your own territory, your own military, your own government?" "That's right. We'll trade with other species. We'll share certain technologies. We'll help defend against external threats. But Earth will never be ruled by anyone except humans. The Confederation Council will never accept these terms. Then the Confederation Council will need to decide. What's more important, their pride or their survival?" Dr. Shin stood up and walked to the window. Outside, she could see the lights of Washington, D.C., where millions of humans lived their lives in freedom. "Ambassador, your empire controls 10,000 species across the galaxy, but you control them through fear and superior technology. What happens when you meet a species that's not afraid? What happens when you meet a species with better technology?" "We adapt," Veltar said quietly. "Exactly. The galaxy is changing, Ambassador. Humanity is not the only species developing new technologies. Others are growing stronger too. The Confederation can either learn to work with equals, or it can face a galaxy full of enemies." She turned back to face him. "We're offering you a chance to evolve, to become something better than a simple empire of conquest. The choice is yours." 3 days later, Admiral Kim stood on the observation deck of Luna Station, watching the human fleet patrol the solar system. The Altarian ships had been sent back to Confederation space with Earth's terms and a demonstration recording of human military capabilities. President Lee joined him at the window. "Do you think they'll accept our terms?" "Some will," Admiral Kim replied. "Others will want to fight." But word is already spreading through the galaxy. Other species are starting to ask questions about Confederation rule. A revolution, more like an evolution. The galaxy is about to learn that there are alternatives to conquest and submission. They watched as the Indomitable passed by the station, its hull gleaming in the sunlight. The great ship was heading to the outer system, where it would continue its patrol of human space. "The galaxy just got a lot more interesting," President Lee said. Admiral Kim smiled. "That's what humans do best. We make things interesting." Far across the galaxy, the news of humanity's rejection of Confederation terms spread like wildfire. Species that had been conquered centuries ago began to whisper about the possibility of freedom. Others started to wonder what would happen if they said no to the next Confederation demand. The Galactic Confederation had ruled through intimidation for 300 years, but intimidation only works when you're the strongest force in the galaxy. Humanity had just proven that strength could be hidden, that patience could be more powerful than aggression, that sometimes the best defense was to let your enemies think they were winning until it was too late. President Lee addressed the United Nations one final time before the news went public. "Today, we took our place among the stars," she said. "Not as servants, but as the free species we've always been. The galaxy is about to learn what humans do when someone threatens our home. We don't just fight back, we fight smart, we fight together, and we never, ever give up." The age of easy conquest was over. The age of humanity had begun.